Wishing you all a very, very happy Deepavali. Thank you so much for joining during these festive times as well. May the Almighty provide a lot of light and love and joy in all your lives. Thank you so much for attending. We will start with a prayer to the Supreme God, to my spiritual teacher, to all the spiritual teachers, holy masters, all the saints, holy angels, spiritual helpers, and all the great ones. We humbly invoke for your divine guidance, divine love, divine blessings, for illumination, for divine oneness, divine bliss, divine health, and divine protection. We thank you in full faith. So be it. I think last class we covered basics of acceptance. Today I am thinking of covering surrender. And I also want to touch upon one more concept, which I think I explained in the last class also, but let's touch upon that again so that it can be very clear. Even for me, also, I want to reiterate it and then make it very clear in my head. So when I'm talking about the same things over and over again, it's not just for you, it's also for me. So that the more we reiterate whatever we already know, our own conscious mind sort of becomes more aware about it. And we tend to practice what we talk or practice what we preach. The more you keep talking about it, the more you keep sharing about it. So even I encourage all of you to at least write down, which is why people make journaling notes and all of that, right? So the more you write notes, the more you share your takeaways, the more you participate in a group, the more you're actually rather churning your own thoughts. It's like how they churn butter from milk, right? So similarly, once you keep doing this, keep churning and churning and churning, whatever is a cream will get separated from what is not necessary. So for us to also be able to do that, we need to keep talking about it. We need to share it. It's like you are not trying to teach others, you're not trying to correct others. You are actually reiterating that to yourself. So the more you do it, it'll actually help. Okay. So let's start with the concept of surrender. Why should we surrender? Before that, I'll share that thing that I wanted to talk about. So let me just share this video. Just give me a minute. Are you able to see? There's no voice or anything. It's just a image, GIF file or JPEG file or something. So do you see all of these bubbles? So these are actually many, many versions of you, or you can say your own body. Like that, there are many, many versions of everybody's body. There are many, many versions of, rather, soul gets to choose what it wants to experience. So basically, the subtle body is moving. It's like the experience in each of these bubbles are actually very, very different and different. So everything that could ever possibly be created has already been created, which means in, let's say, one of this bubble, there is one experience. Let's say in one of the bubbles, I'm a doctor. In one of the bubble, I'm a policeman. In one of the bubble, I'm maybe a man. In one of the bubble, I'm something else. So, so first of all, I'm as Smita. Smita can be a policeman, a policewoman. Smita can be a doctor. Smita can be, let's say, a nature cure practitioner. And in that also, I have two children now. That is one reality. But then I may have three in some other reality. I may have only one child in some other reality. So imagine how many permutations and combinations are possible for Smita herself. Whatever that could ever be created is already created. It's like if I can think of something, that is already here. If I can't think of something, it means it's not here, which is why you have not been able to think it. So somebody has already thought about it, which is why it is already created. Who is this somebody? God. And these bodies are necessary for us to be able to experience this, because each of these bubbles, let's say, are in a physical dimension, are in a or in a frequency, or in that band. I spoke about the bands in our last week. So in the bands, which are, let's say, having physical experience is necessary. So if let's say a soul wants to experience a body in this, as per many of the books and as per Immortal Talks also, the body is already there. It's like, imagine all of these are scenes in multiple time space realities. These are all scenes. In one scene, I'm talking to my husband. In that moment, it's like moment to moment. All these are in moment. In a moment, what will happen? That much is here. Okay. In that moment, if I'm talking to my husband, in that moment, I can basically get connected to one of these things. And there I'm talking to my husband. Maybe in some other moment, we both may be singing a song. In some other moment, we may be fighting, right? There could be different possibilities. So what experience the soul wants, it basically gets connected there. And in that moment, whatever in that scene, who is the main character? Smita is the main character. Who are the other characters? My husband is a secondary character, supporting role. Okay, he's a POSC. So all these are supporting role characters, or you can call them POSCs. There are other POSCs also. So whoever enters that as a soul, that character, that scene, you can call it that scene of the movie or whatever that thing, that person is the main character. So like that, there are different scenes. Now, why did we go there? We went there for an experience. What am I going to get out of that scene? I'm going to get an experience of that scene. Am I going there to change anything in that scene? No, there is nothing. Okay. So all these are multiple possibilities that can happen. Now, let's say you are in one frequency where you are always angry kind of thing. You have lower frequencies, let's say. You have emotions which have lower frequencies, right? Then what does it mean? It means that you are in some frequency and you'll be constantly getting plugged into similar scenes which are sort of in the same frequency. So in each moment we are shifting. I'm still in anger, so I'm shifting from this scene to a similar scene where I'm still in anger, but maybe the role play is different, where I'm probably shouting at my daughter. In some other thing, I'm shouting at my husband. I'm still angry though, because frequencies are almost matching. But now, if I have to shift to higher realities where I'm not angry, can I, when I'm connected to a scene that is angry, I don't like it, or maybe whatever, I don't like those things. So now if I don't like it, what can I do? I can't do anything about people there. I can't blame them. I can't do anything about it, right? What should I do? I have to just disconnect from there and go to a frequency where those kinds of scenes are available, where the POSCs are the same. Because for this character, there is a contract that I have with, let's say, my husband's soul, then my daughter's soul. And I want let's say I want a broad idea of how my life is going to go. It's more about what are those emotions which I want to experience, and who are the people who are going to assist me in bringing those experiences. It is more at that level. But our higher self will keep generating those moment to moment experiences so that we can get plugged in here and there to get those experiences. Okay, that is happening real time. But before we came here, before we started the journey itself through the body, that high level plan is already there. It is there in the DNA. So the body is sort of the same. It is more of the body is there only. It is who is the subtle body is moving everywhere, right? The physical body, it's not. Let's say if I had let's say a disease, but if I healed today, it is not because I healed. It's like my subtle body, or let's say the subtle aspects of me shifted as I kept, let's say, doing cleansing work, or maybe doing some spiritual work, or whatever it is that was necessary to go to a higher frequency. I kept doing that. Doing also, it's like we are going from one scene to another scene where we are doing. Why? Because the intention made us to go from one scene to a scene where I'm thinking about doing it, then I'm doing it, then I'm doing it, then I'm getting better at it, then I'm getting better at it, then I'm getting better at it. So over time, what happened? We don't even know that we actually shifted microsecond to microsecond, but I found myself in some other scene, but I'm still stuck to the same people. This is something that is there in the books. They've explained this in very, very high level in many of these channeling books and all of those kinds of things. But as such, unless we are at that kind of a state, we may not experience this, because once we get into that scene, connect to that scene, since we are in body consciousness, we will forget about it. We will forget about who we are and all of those things. We'll just get engrossed in that scene. And sometimes what will happen, the subtle body most of the time is engrossed in that scene. It doesn't even leave that scene. So there is one more next scene which sort of keeps going, continuation. They're all connected also. So it's like if I go knock this door, when the door opens, there are multiple possibilities. There I have to choose again. Let's say I choose this, that door opens to multiple other possibilities. Like I do an action, there are multiple outcomes. So let's say I get to this outcome. Then from there, I do some other action, then I go to some other outcome. So like this, there are sort of connected scenes like this. So people just keep going from one scene to another scene, one scene to another scene, one scene to another scene. But typically what happens when it's like until the death, there is a connected scene, it just keeps going. But what happens when we are in acceptance and surrender, or a state where you are like not connected to, you're sort of detached from everything. Suddenly, let's say this happened to me once, or maybe it happened to me. Suddenly, I was very, very hardcore fan of allopathy, okay, at some point. And the way I talk now, I used to be talking passionately about allopathy also. It was like that. So at one point, let's say I felt sick and all of those things. But what I believed only did not help me. It did not, let's say it did not help. At that time, the way I believed is it did not help me. Whatever medicines I took, actually sort of, I am telling this sentences, I would think then. It sort of backfired on me. And then I had nothing else to believe or hold on to. I was sort of in a void kind of thing. In the sense, what do I do? I'm dying, but there is nowhere to go kind of thing. It was more like that. So in that kind of a state where you have no belief systems, everything is gone. Whatever you believed is like sort of gone. Something that you were holding on to did not help you and you had to leave it. Now, what else will you hold on to? It was more that kind of mindset. So at that time, typically what happens, you'll be open to holding on to anything. So in that state, typically what would happen as per the explanations is you will detach from one scene like this, which is actually not helping you. And the current or the flow of life will take you to a better state. So which is why if you want to continue to keep going to better and better and better states, the flow is already like that. The life actually takes us to better and better and better states all the time. But why is it that we can't constantly keep getting stuck on many of these things that we don't like? Is because of our body consciousness. We sort of hold on to that with our attachments. with our expectations and all of those things. So when we practice surrender, acceptance, and all of that, it's more like letting go of everything. You're not holding on to anything that the ego wants to hold on. It's like ego wants to just grab onto something there, and you're saying chalo chalo, let's go. But then imagine that the ego is like a child which is holding on to a rope or a pole or something, and then the parent is pulling chalo chalo, we have to go, and then the child is holding on like this. It's not coming. It's more like that. So ego has all of these attachments and it will not let go. But then, if you're in that kind of mindset where you're willing to let go, then there is no connection to any scene. You're just going in, walking out, going in, walking out, going in, walking out. Moment to moment, this is happening. So it is always best to be in that kind of mindset where you're you look at it more like a traveler. I gave that explanation in today's post, but I thought maybe I'll explain it then write it in a better terminology. I was not too satisfied with the way I felt it was not explaining everything. So imagine yourself to be more like a traveler who's just going from one scene to the other scene just for the sake of experience. Okay? That is what your mindset should be. Even though you are a traveler, you are still playing the role of being a wife, being a this, being a that, because you chose a particular scene in which you are playing the role of a mother. You're cooking today. You're cooking sambar today. Many multiple scenes together is a cooking sambar. So you are participating in that, and then your experience was to enjoy that experience and then move out of that. Just collect the learning from that, collect the wisdom, make wisdom there, and then walk out of that place. Walk out of that scene. It is more, that is the objective. Which is why, which is what God also thought. Okay, let me create all of these things, and then I will just go scene by scene in my own experiences, and then just walk out. But then this ego is the one which is sort of confused at this dimensional level. In this frequencies, there is a lot of confusion. The subtle body has confusion, which means there is one body that is used in between God and the physical body, right? So that is sort of confused. So hence there's a less connection between these things, which is what I explained last week and all of that. So what you should remember is, I am a traveler. I'm just going to go into a particular let's say reality, or in a point. I'm just going to go to a point, and I'm just going to get the experience the way it gives me. It is already pre-made. Okay, the scene is already pre-made. It has memories. It has past, present memories, and all of that is already inbuilt in that scene. Once you go get plugged into that body or whatever, you will get connected. You'll feel like everything is sort of real, and I have these memories and all of those things. But actually, that body that was in that scene has those memories. Once you get out, you are like, you don't have that memory, or you are not connected to that memory or something. You get connected to some other scene that has some other memory. So it is more like you're more like a solo traveler, just traveling and then seeing everything, enjoying everything, and then going. In this process, let's say if you get attached to a particular scene, to a particular way of life, whatever it is, there you are stuck. Then you're getting stuck and then going from scene to scene by default. And which is what most of us are been doing in the third dimensional space, where we are all in duality, right? And most of us are in the confusion state. At least predominantly humanity is in the confused state. So now the whole effort of every single, let's say, saints or gods or avatars or whoever you want to call it, or scriptures, has only been to say, don't get attached, just let go, don't have expectations, don't have this. So anything that has to do with you holding on to some scene, they will say, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it, just leave it and go. So, and they also have these things to say, who created all of this? Why is it created? And who are you? You are a soul. All of these reminders are sort of constantly coming from everybody. In everything, this is a common thing message they are giving, right? Is there any other message that you're getting? They might give you extra messages to say, oh, do this, do that, follow gratitude, or do job, do this, do that. All of those things they'll keep telling. But then the whole point is you have to just go there, take whatever experience you want. But then let's say once you go into that, do you have to malign with your own, let's say you went there with a positive energy, but then you can't come out with a negative energy. So it's more of be giving in nature. Use that scene to basically uplift yourself, and energetically, that way the scene will also be uplifted. So I don't know whether the scene will be uplifted or whatever, but I think you should use all of the experiences that Maya gives us. This is all Maya only, if you want to ask that. So use the experiences that Maya gives us through all her props called POSEs. Use them to uplift yourself. Use those experiences to uplift yourself. See them more like a role play, which is sort of more to get you an experience of how things are typically in an interpersonal relationship or in money relationships. How is your relationship with money? How is your relationship with people? How is your relationship with yourself? So what, because you will never know all of these experiences unless you have a physical body. Otherwise, God is just plain God. There is nothing more into that. So, but this is all his Leela, if you want to call it. So, in the spirit of things. So, as a traveler, when you go to a place, you enjoy the place, do everything, take whatever best you can from that, but you don't dirty the place or do anything like that and come out. You leave it the way it was as much as possible. If not, give more from your side, contribute more from your side, and then walk out. So, like how a sun is only in the contribution mode. Trees are only in the contribution mode. Animals also that way, they don't really mess up with anybody. They are also typically in the contribution mode only. No animal is like holding grudge on somebody else or anything like that. So it's just that this physical body has some high-end mechanisms which sort of malfunctions every now and then. So we are just getting instructions, more like an AI thing, artificial intelligence sort of. So we are just getting programmed differently because we are receptive to different programs. So I'm just, what is a takeaway from this whole thing is see yourself more like a traveler and from moment to moment. And don't get attached to one moment. And I gave you that one more example of a real estate investor in the post. So where I said, if you are a solo traveler or something like that also, would you want to invest in any real estate in this place? If you're investing in real estate in that place, that means you're stuck to that place, managing that real estate and all of those things, right? So that way you should not complain. For example, you go to some place and then you go and change the dynamics of that place. You change the dynamics of, you try to go and invest in the people, you go invest in the land, you do energetically, let's say you're investing something. You're giving, you're taking, and all of those kinds of things. When I say investment, it means you're not actually just going there with that detached mentality. You are going there with an expectation that I'm going to get back something in return. It is more like that. So I put my energy there so that I get something back. That is what the investor does, no? But here you are going there with a thing. If you go there with a detached attitude, you just go there, enjoy, thank, great, you're just appreciating, blah blah blah, all of that. But then you don't have any expectation of taking anything. You just have experience, that's all. It is not about I want money back, I want this back, that back, materialistic stuff back. If there is no, so if you're an investor who's in any, let's say if I'm investing in expecting something from, let's say, my relatives or from my family or something like that, it means that I am sort of stuck in that place. I'm sort of now building attachments to that person. I'm knotted. I'm bound. That is a challenge because you'll have to do many more things to unbind yourself now. So that is where you'll have to pay attention. When we go and try to, let's say, invest in somebody and then correct somebody, what are we trying to do? I'm trying to correct somebody means that is also an investment with the hope that they change. So now you're stuck there. You're bound to that. So be mindful of not trying to change anybody. Don't interfere in anybody's life. Don't try to, because of your likes and dislikes. When I say you, even I'm included, okay? So when we are sort of, because of our likes and dislikes, our expectations, we sort of try to change the world in many different ways. Sometimes we are too smart. We try to strategically change and all of those things. They will not know. I will try to do this. I will try. So all of that is intention. If it is to change, then definitely you're like stuck. So hence, it's important for you to be mindful. When it comes to children or something, I've already told, if you think your duty is to perform the role of a mother by saying XYZ things, let's say you are a plant-based mother and then you're teaching the child to be plant-based. That is basically what you think is right. So go ahead and do it. But then if the child is not following after some time, what can you do about it? No expectations. Drop all your expectations. It's more about that kind of thing, right? So always watch your investments. If you're investing something, it means you're stuck. Investment is done only with an return on investment, with an expectation of return on investment. Only invest if you don't invest because you will always want something back. You want to change somebody because you want them to change, no? Sometimes in the process of unlearning this whole thing, we may tell them, but then at least if they're not willing to change, don't worry so much about it. You say, it's okay, I tried my best, but now I'm not investing anymore. I did invest in the past because I felt like investing, but now I'm not going to invest anymore. Is there any doubt about this investment? Sort of, I'm trying to bring concepts which will help us understand. Is it clear? Was it confusing?
Yes. No, it's very clear.
Okay, it's very clear. Okay. I think there were some
But I have one question suddenly in my mind.
Hmm?
If I can ask now, I'll ask in the end. I'll note it down, I'll ask in the end.
If it's not too big or something like, if it's related to this, you can definitely ask.
So you said like my takeaway should be I must be like a traveler. So always we say no, be a part of the movie and all that. So we are just acting here, we are actors and travelers. But then we can ask for our needs, now what we need for a day-to-day living that we can ask, right?
Everything is already taken care of. You went into a scene provided that you want that experience. If there is nothing available there, it means you wanted that kind of experience only. If you
Okay.
need it, it will come to you. Imagine that you are more like you're just a puppet. You're just a robot that is being used by somebody. Because the body is inside the scene. Who's coming and going very well knows that this scene has only this much. This person doesn't have this. But I wanted that experience where I don't have this. So there is always some learning, even when we don't have something. It is meant to be that way, which is why there is that experience, which is why I think even in the past classes, we've heard that if there is something happening to you, even though you don't prefer because of body consciousness, ego prefers whatever it wants. But then even if we don't prefer that, even if the ego does not prefer that, it is meant to be that way. Only when you come to that acceptance and surrender will you be able to get out of that scene after that experience. It's like going to neutral. In a down, what will happen if you're driving a car or something and then you go to neutral, the car will still just keep going. Only when you're in gear, there is resistance. Understood? Any doubts there?
Yes. No, that's it.
So
Thank you.
in any case, come to a state which is sort of neutral, which is why I see, the more you keep going horizontal, I like this, when you keep going towards what you like, there has to be something that will also increase in your life, which you dislike. Because if you are putting more energy on the dislike part also will increase in your life. It has to balance out somewhere. There is no way that your likes only will constantly, what you like only will increase in your life and what you dislike will not happen. This system itself is such that they have to be in balance. So what is your job? Your job is neither to like, neither to dislike, but come to the center and say, everything is good. What I dislike is also good. What I like is also good. It is meant to be that way. I'm just a traveler kind of thing. So be in the center. Be in the center, always practicing things that are more neutral in nature. See, we are learning this concept and it takes time to apply this in many different kind of scenarios that comes in our life. In interpersonal relationships, in money matters, or in health matters, in our own self-image matters. So many things that have to be unlearned. Unlearned means in every aspect that we have sampled in duality and made those belief systems, we'll have to undo it and then come back to neutral. It's like you'll have to touch that again, and then that has to be stamped as oneness. Every single thing that you have ever touched, forever, that you have ever built a belief system on, has to be now stamped as oneness. You'll have to come back to the center with that particular concept. And everything has to be done from an awareness point of view. Some intelligence, some inner intelligence has to be telling you how to do it. So that is sort of, it's going to take time, because how to do it, how to practice it. It's not like you read a book and then go apply one formula. But pretty much acceptance and surrender is a high level formula only. It's a process driven approach given by our ancestors or sages or whatever you can call it. People who have actually crossed this milestone. They've done this, and this is like a higher concept that everybody has followed in every part of their life. So it's a process, but it applies to everything. But how do we apply? When do we apply? We need that awareness, right? So for that also we need that energy. So spiritual laws says that you will keep going, experience by experience, experience by experience. Whether you do anything, you don't do anything, also you'll keep moving like this. But it may delay a lot more for you to actually go. And then in each scene, that suffering may be longer because of lack of understanding. So it will still progress. But then if you want to hasten your progress, then you'll also intend to be very aware of what messages are coming, what awareness is coming in within you, what you feel is right. And then you make sure that, oh yeah, what I feel is right, so I'll have to go ahead and do this kind of thing. So that it's all the churning that happens. How each person does, we don't know. But all that we have to remember is come back to that neutral state, because only in that neutral state will we gather energy. As long as you keep going horizontal like this, there will always be leakage. You'll still be just going horizontal, like, dislike, good, bad, good, bad. You'll just keep going like this. There is no forward movement. And we have done a lot of this, as animals also do this. They like something, they run behind it. They don't like something, they go away from it. We have done this a long time. In a duality, we've done everything. So now we are getting tools to actually go to that state of oneness, to go back to that state of feminine dominance and all of those kinds of things. So in the past, this kind of knowledge was not there, which is why people have not done too much of work on this. They've done, but in pockets. But now most of them you see are in this kind of thing. It's this kind of practices, or people are actually thinking of eating healthy. People are thinking of doing yoga, meditations, and those kind of spiritual, something that connects them back to themselves. In some other form, they are sort of doing, because the energies are supporting that kind of concept. So how do we come to oneness? by actually accepting both these as the way they are and not labeling them as bad and good. You don't have to follow this lifestyle or that lifestyle. You may not, let's say, for example, I don't eat non-veg, but I don't hate non-veg. I don't even have hate for people who eat non-veg. I don't have, maybe I don't fight people who, let's say, eat non-veg or anything for that matter, anything to do with non-veg or for that matter, medicines. I did have a dislike towards them in the past, which means I was favoring one side of duality. I was taking side of dislike for that particular item. But now I'm in the center. But that doesn't mean that I'm going and taking medicines. It's not about if I say I'm okay with it, should I even start eating it? It is not about action. It is more about intention. What is your mind telling? Are you storing some story which says this is bad? It is more like that. Okay. So don't have any hate mentality in your head. You don't have to follow it. You don't have to eat it. You don't have to do anything. But don't carry hatred or anything in your mind. Okay. So that much will actually also get you back to the center. It will sort of help you let go. And then you'll come to the center. And in the center, that energy will gain more like a rocket. When the rocket sort of gains that, it has to have a lot of energy, right, to actually travel upwards. So, which is sort of also that concept of Kundalini raising and all of that. It is more about your actually, the more you let go of duality, you will automatically be in the center. Because you're holding on to duality, you are not in the center. It is not like duality is holding on to you. You are holding on to duality. Nothing is holding you. Food is not holding you. Nothing. Your attachments are not holding you. The scene is not holding you. POSC is not holding you. Nothing is holding you. But you are holding on to it. So, which is why the teachings and all those things says, let go, let go, let go. Nobody is saying it will let go, it will let go. Nobody is saying that it will let go. They're saying you let go. Bhagavad Gita also says you let go. And to let go, we need that strong explanation to let go. So all of this gyan that is sort of coming in any from anywhere, why should you let go? It's all for the ego. All this education is for the ego only. For the ego to go from a state of high attachments to a state of surrender. Ego is the one that is surrendering to the control that is already running our life, which is God or the soul and all of that, right? So remember to teach your ego, which is why when the beginning of the class, when I said, reiterate whatever you've learned. So it is to teach your ego. The more your ego is exposed to these higher forms of teaching, it will learn. You have to go through the duality itself because you have to touch all of these concepts which are now belief systems in your head. You can't run away from anything here. It has to be, you have to use them as tools and now apply the concept of oneness and come to that center. You have to put a stamp on everything that you've ever touched. And hence, then when you are in the center and you start going up, forget about chakras. This chakra is opening, that chakra is opening, whether this chakra open. We go into all of these meditations of chakra opening and all that. Trust me, it is not necessary. With our ego, we can't do something which is beyond the ego. Okay, so don't get into all that. The more you focus on what you can simply understand, common sense. What are we learning in this class? Just common sense. We don't need any education to actually understand this. All that we are saying, wherever you have likes and dislikes, wherever you have attachments and all of those things, you have to be mindful to actually come back to that center and accept whatever belief systems that are coming out. Fear is coming out, anxiety is coming out, tension is coming out, low self-esteem is coming out, lack of confidence is coming out, lack of patience is coming out. Whatever is coming out, it was earned through some experience in this duality. Why do we know? Why do we need to know which experience gave me that? Why did I have this experience? What past life? All of these kinds of things. We keep going to understand why did I get this experience? Why? Don't even ask that question. Why? Because somehow in some life it came. But now, whenever it comes as a plan, it is all designed to be coming in front of you so that you can all stamp oneness on top of it based on knowledge that you're getting. So apply the knowledge, come back to the center, and just keep going through this. Okay. So when you say surrender, it is about ego, which is now wanting to control everything. It thinks that I am only running the show. It's more like in Bhagavad Gita, they give this example that God's chariot is coming. Now, under the God's chariot, there is a dog. Now everybody bows to the chariot because God's, let's say, Utsav Murti is coming and all of that. Now the dog thinks that, oh my God, I am the superior. I'm like a king. Everybody is bound to me. That is what is a dog thinking. Because dog is walking under the chariot. But the dog thinks that everybody is bound to me. I am the one who's superior, which is why everybody is accepting my supremacy. The dog is thinking all that, but it actually has no clue that it is walking under a chariot because the chariot is so huge and it can't understand the concept of that hugeness. So, which is what our ego is also. It thinks that I am only doing everything. I only lifted my hand. I'm the one who's talking. I'm the one who has all this knowledge. I'm the one who studies. I'm the one who gets marks. I'm the one who's intelligent. I'm the one who gets this. I should get this job. I'm the one who's in control of everything. Just give me a minute. Somebody came. So, hence, it's important to understand that we are actually just a puppet, especially with our ego. So, all that we have to understand is learn to stay where we are and observe the dynamics of how things are actually moving around us. Over time, that awareness will come. If you sort of agree to the concept that I'm in body consciousness, my ego now thinks that everything is in control, which is why it's very strong within me, which is why I made all these likes and dislikes and diseases and all of this resistance I created within myself. Hence, then you'll be able to understand. Once you understand God's supremacy in this whole, what is his hand in this whole thing? Hence, surrender is very important. The more you go to surrender in every area of your life, you will come back to that center. And the flow of life will take you to the next scene, which is very, 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 ego also will like it. That is the best part. Ego doesn't know what it wants. It thinks that I don't want this. It just knows I don't want this. It thinks that if I get something, then I will actually like it. I'll be happy. But it doesn't know actually whether it will be happy. Because that future prediction and all is not there in ego. It is only assuming. But what will actually happen if you surrender that ego is the life will take you. It's more like a leaf that is getting carried forward in the current, reverse current. It will take you to the right place. Hence, surrender is saying you trust that current that is going to take you to the right place. Allow the current to take you to the right place because the current has the intelligence to take you to the right place. You don't worry. Ego, you don't worry about it. Allow, trust, have faith in something else. So ego has to agree in this whole thing. Otherwise, it is going to throw some drama, right? So it is all about teaching the ego to surrender by giving it all these logical explanations so that it can really do that. So how do we surrender? Remember this sentence. I will do my action to the best of my knowledge, to the best of my ability, with the best of intentions. Okay, action. I am doing my job, whatever it is. There is no right job, wrong job. Whatever job I'm doing, in whatever role I play, I'm going to give it my best. I'm not going to say, why did this job come to me? No judgment, nothing. You're just doing it more like a servant. this it's like you're doing it with such great like, have you seen nurses in the hospitals? So nicely they actually do your service and all of that. You'll come back like saying, oh my God, they really have that service mindedness. I don't even have 5% of that. You'll think like that because they are so service minded. And we have a caretaker at home now for my mother because she went through a knee surgery. She is like flawless, if you want to ask me. Literally flawless. Such is her service mindedness. So good. It's like so good, and she's so perfect in all of that. So, that kind of service mindedness is what is expected out of life. You're giving your best, like how sun doesn't say, oh, people are not liking very sunny day today, so maybe I'm just going to go under the clouds. Sun doesn't say all that. He doesn't care. He just keeps going. Clouds come, clouds go. Whatever happens, happens. He doesn't care about who's commenting on it, who's not commenting on it, whether they like him, they don't like him in summer. Either way, he does his job for the higher good of the, let's say, the cosmos. Similarly, trees are just doing their job. Everybody is doing their job. You do your job based on what the role requires, without cribbing, without thinking that, oh, my husband is not helping me, my children are very fussy, I'm from morning, I help my in-laws, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm working, like I'm the only one who's working in this house. Nobody is helping me. Everybody is sitting and watching TV. So all of that kind of mentality sometimes we get into. But what was your role? If some work has come to you, it was for you because you entered that scene. It was meant to be for you. If help had to come, you would have chosen a different scene where there are people to help you. Right? It is more about that. If something is a reality in the current moment that is meant for you, you are there for the right reasons. So accept that as is and don't have resistance. Don't fight that scene after going into that scene. I don't like, I don't like, don't do all of that. So enjoy that and give your best. Don't have an intention for getting back something in return. So, okay, this is the first part of the equation. Now, the second part is the outcome. So I do everything with the best of my intentions, best of my abilities, with best hard work, everything. And I will be mentally ready for all outcomes. Which means you are not reserving or having a reservation for any one outcome or preferences for one outcome. No preferences, zero preferences for any outcome. Why should I have zero preferences? You can say, oh, I'm a project manager. I have to have a plan. Or a daily I get up as a mother, I have to have a plan to how I'm going to run that day, what chores to do, what tasks to do. You can plan. There's nothing wrong. That was in the to do, the first part of the equation. You do your work, do your plan, do everything. But once you've done it, once your execution starts, don't keep your mind on an outcome and then mess with the doing part. Don't do it for getting an outcome. Don't keep your eye on any outcome. Irrespective of any outcome, I am going to do what I have to do. That should be your mentality. Because one more example, like let's say our children are in school. In school, there is English, mathematics, science, social studies, Hindi, Kannada, English, Tamil, whatever regional languages. Now, can the child say, I don't like Kannada, I don't like Hindi, and not study it? Will they be able to get through that class if they say, I don't want this subject, I'll study only science, maths, social studies, and then pass? Does she have that option? At least in schools, there is no such option. That's why I'm taking that example. So there is no such thing. She has to attend every single paper, and then the entire thing, all should be passed. That is when she'll pass that class. Similarly, all of the outcomes have some learning for us. Why do we prefer some outcome? It's because we are very familiar with that outcome. We have experienced that outcome sometime in the past. So it is a part of our database. Hence, we want the same outcome because ego wants to be comfortable all the time. So it was trying to go to a familiar place. It doesn't want to go to an unfamiliar place, experience unfamiliarity, discomfort, and all of that. So it always wants to go to something familiar. Hence, it wants that outcome. In some other outcome, maybe it will be uncomfortable. So, but trust that every outcome is equally beneficial for me. Whether I like it or no, I still will be okay with that. So, which is what Bhagavad Gita also says in this shloka, Karmanye Vadikaraste, Ma Phaleshu Kadachana, Ma Karma Phalahetur, Bhurmate Sangoštva Akarmani. It says, you focus on your actions and you don't have any entitlement to the fruits of action. That's it. Anything can happen because that fruits of action comes due to various factors coming into play in the cosmos. It can be due to what is my learning, what is my energy level. So many things are at play. They also call that prarabdha. So all of that are at play. So hence, forget about that. You be in surrender. So this is where concept of surrender comes. So before you take action itself, start surrendering and then apply and do whatever you have to do, and then allow the universe to bring you an outcome that is the best for you. I apply this in almost many areas, like even shopping I apply. Like recently, we have been doing this for quite some time, so it has actually got better. Initially, when I used to go shopping with my younger one, she used to have a lot of no, this is not okay, that is not okay. Oh, and even in the fitting room, no, it will not, there'll not be any AC and all of those things most of the time. AC will be less. So she'll feel very sweaty, keep trying, and then most of the time she's hungry or whatever it. She's either way, after 4, 5 dresses, she's actually tired, but she still has to keep trying because she hasn't finalized. So this used to go on for a long time, and then I used to get very tired, mentally tired. And she also would get mentally tired. So what I started doing over a period of time is I started surrendering before going to shopping. I would say, dear God, I'm surrendering this shopping experience to you. I know that I'm going to do whatever I have to do, but I trust that any outcome, what I'm going to come back home, I'm going to feel very happy with whatever outcome you give. I know I'm going to be very happy. And I know my daughter is also going to be very happy. I put that mindset and I go. And I would have made up my mind that I am okay with anything. If she buys a dress, also okay. If she doesn't buy a dress, also okay. Whether my entire driving around experience has become a waste, also okay. Everything for all those choices, all that outcomes in my head. Sometimes I run through them. Sometimes I don't run through them. Even if I run through them, I'll say okay, and go. Even if I don't like, I would say okay. Because I know that I have to be mentally ready for that also for me to actually be mentally okay. So then usually what has happened is the way initially we would get it in the third shop or something like that. Over a period of time, in the first shop itself, she gets the best. And then we come back right after the first shop. See, because we are in surrender, we have been navigated to our respective scenes where it is very favorable to us. Hence, it's important to surrender. Just give me a minute. Just give me a minute. Sorry, it was raining and I had to go close the windows. Yeah. Hence, remember, surrender is that you can apply to anything. For example, let's say you want to, some guests are coming and you have to cook up a meal and just say, dear God, I'm just going to do my best cooking this meal, and be okay, be mentally ready for any outcome. So what are the outcomes? Somebody might say, oh, salt was less. Somebody might say, oh, in this sourness was more. Some was maybe slightly bland. Something was this, something was that. Just say, okay, yeah. When that kind of a comment comes, I'm going to be perfectly okay. So when you are actually mentally prepared for all kinds of possible outcomes, typically, even if that happens, because that was supposed to be a learning, even if it comes, you'll be okay. Because you're mentally ready for that. You'll take that as, yes, I needed it. There was some learning for it, and you'll be okay. Hence, remember that every possible outcome has something in it for you. But in my experience, most of the time, whenever I have surrendered, I have actually got a result, sometimes which I have not expected also. Hence, it's important for you to surrender and trust the current, trust the universe, trust the God to take you wherever you have to go. Because we don't know, in our limited minds, limited ego, which has no foresight, which has no idea about how our life is, why we are even, what are we doing in this life also, it doesn't have an idea. So how can it be a planner also in that case? It has no data, except for memory, it has no data. So all that it is doing is looking backwards for data in terms of how our life went, and it is basically formulating that for the future also. Hence, don't trust the ego, trust God. So this is the concept of surrender, and you can apply this in anything. I'll give you one more example. I have, I think, told in one of the classes, I think I told where we wanted to, I lived in a joint family system. And then I wanted to always live in a nuclear family because something different. I did not have it, so I wanted something else. So it was more like that. And it was more like a dead end because we were living with my aged in-laws and we could not leave them and go. And even though we had a property somewhere else, we could not go because that was sort of outside Bangalore, and schools would have been challenging. So either way, we were in a deadlock situation. We couldn't have left this house and go, but the desire was to get into such a family, nuclear family. So it was not actually happening. So what did I do over a period of time? This went on, it piled up and piled up and piled up for over many years. But then something happened. I was also working on my spiritual path and all, some sadhana a little bit here and there and all I was doing. But one day in this whole thing, what happened was I went to a friend's house, and that in that friend's house I saw something. It was all normal only. Everything was a normal day. But for me, the awareness that came into me was I suddenly started comparing what I already have. I had a good, stable house. It was not a flat. It was a old house, well constructed old house, my in-laws' house. And then we had a good, spacious room. And then since I come from an Orthodox family, my in-laws had attached a lot of rules in the day-to-day life also. But that had made me a lot more, what do you say, systematic. It had made me more matured in the way I deal with things. And I had to learn a lot of cooking in the earlier part itself. So that initially what I felt like was controlled by my in-laws. It was more, I actually that day I started feeling that it was more like a blessing. I started seeing the positive side of it, and it was not happening by plan or anything. I did not force myself to think also. That it was like those thoughts were just there in my head suddenly. And then I was able to think like that. And I came back home and I was so grateful. I did not want to actually get separated from that house or from my in-laws. It was sort of, it came like a revelation that whatever I had was the best. The same thing I had actually hated a day before. But that day I started thinking it was a blessing. And I did not think of even looking and going out or something like that. But 1 month later, suddenly my in-laws had a thought that they had this thought for quite some time that they had to sell some property and then somehow construct a common property here by demolishing this house. And all of us will live together in different floors, my brother-in-law, we, and all that. They had that, but nobody was actually buying that other property. It was in the outskirts of Bangalore. Nobody was buying it. And they wanted white money also, not black money in this whole transaction. So it was not happening at all. The buyers were not coming forth. Hence, but that month, some unknown buyer came. He was willing to pay in white also, some 96 lakhs he was willing to pay. And he paid. The deal was done in like within a month. We did have challenges in the registration process also, but there also we surrendered. And I mean, there also magic. It's like the person, my father-in-law is already retired, but the one who sold this particular site to him, they're all very old now in their 80s and all of that. Imagine the one who sold to him should also be roughly in the same range. They were all peers at that time, peers or contemporaries. But now they said, the registration people said, oh, there is a flaw in this registration document. Something is missing. They asked us to find the seller who like ages back had sold this. Then it was sold from somebody, let's say from BEL. Now, if we have to go ask, where do we even find this person? We don't even know if he's alive. So we surrendered, and suddenly my husband got an idea. Why don't we call the Cooperative Society of BEL? He called, okay, and that guy said, okay, who will even keep us on hold and search at the same time? Very magical, right? So they searched. They found some number, that to a landline number they got. They gave us the landline number. Imagine we called that landline number. Somebody picks up from that landline number, and they actually agreed to come to the registration place also. They did some work there, and then that was sorted. And that person died 1 month later. He was also very old. It was like he was alive for this purpose or whatever. So this also got over. And everything got over, and then they started the construction of this new place also. 5 years we lived outside in a rented place, but now we are all living in the same property. We are living harmoniously, but actually when this happened, I did not even want to move out because I was not holding on to that outcome. Once I let go of that outcome, it actually happened. It was more like I came back to neutral. Here I did in that area, in that part where I said, I'm surrendering about even getting out from this place. I didn't actually surrender. I came to neutral at that time because of the thoughts. But when I surrendered for the registration process and all. There I surrendered. So see, this is what, and there are so many examples in my life. I've surrendered to get some lost books. I'll find it somewhere. So many things just keep small things. Just keeps. Initially, I was doing only for random silly things like this. But over a period of time, I think I've shared about that vaccination and all of those things, right? So it happens. You have to come back to that neutral state where your ego has nothing. You're not walking on the path of your ego, your wants, your likes, your dislikes. I want this, your insistence. Insistence equal to resistance. Bashar also says that. Insistence equal to resistance. If you insist life to go in a certain way, you are actually in resistance. If you want only this outcome in your life, that is also resistance. If you say, I like only this, I want only this, that is also resistance. If you have only expectations that somebody has to behave with you in a certain way only, that is also resistance. Towards yourself also, you have resistance. I should never cry, that is also resistance. So many things, right? We don't even know because that awareness is also not that we are in resistance. It will come whenever it has to come, it will come, and then you can actually do it. So this is surrender. And then I explained that concept also. Okay. So now, shall I go through the questions that are shared on WhatsApp? Is there anything else that you wanted to ask before we progress to that? Any questions?
No questions.
No questions. Okay, great. Fine.
But one thing I wanted to know that as we are surrendering and we're trying to accept and be in the center to be balanced, lots of belief systems are being broken, right? With that, it
Yes,
will
yes.
come forward, right?
Yes, yes. See, when we, how do we accept, how do we apply acceptance and surrender together is, in the last classes, last class explained acceptance. What we are doing in acceptance, we are just observing whatever emotions that came out when we are, let's say, in a scene, and that scene is giving us some experience. POSs are giving us some experience. Then at that time, what goes through your mind, what goes through the emotion, what emotions you go through, you are actually in observation of that. That's all. That you're accepting that it is mine, it is not because of them. Okay, that is acceptance. But you had those pain and irritations and frustrations and all of those things, right? As a part of that belief system, those emotions and all, you had that sense of discomfort. That, how can it go? How will it melt? In that state of acceptance, you are actually, your ego has no role to play because it has accepted. It is no longer blaming other people. It is not ego will feel safe only when it says ego sort of it wants an answer for everything. Okay, it wants an answer for any uncertainty. So it will cook up some story, no? So now it said, okay, because of them only I got this. So now we have said, no, no, it is not because of them. It is because of us only. There is something in us. Now, what will ego do? It's like you have convinced the ego that this is how it is. It is now silent. In that state, we are also in surrender. We are just saying, okay, God, now it is all yours. I have nothing else to do. Ego is not doing anything else in it at this time. So that is a state of surrender also. And when you intend to say, dear God, I have accepted whatever it is, and all of those discomforts that I have, you take care. So at that moment, when we are okay with giving away, when we are okay with letting go, the ego is okay with parting with that belief system, then it will go. It will go means God from within will actually melt that belief system that we have. It is like a cage in which that emotion was imprisoned. The emotion itself was not bad, but the belief that it is bad was bad. So that belief system is actually going. That belief system is the cage. So that cage is going to be melted. And that emotion will be neutral within you. Emotion is not going away anywhere. You are you are like a universal set of all emotions. But some emotions have actually got entrapped into these cages called belief systems. So now surrender is going to melt those belief systems and you are coming to a neutral state. That emotion is now not bound by something that is making it limited with a belief system. Okay, so this is where surrender also came. Okay, yeah, Durga.
So even our emotions also will come out and it will be centered. Like all the emotions will keep coming out.
Yeah, emotions are always in center. See, anger, fear, anything for that matter, they are actually neutral only. It's all God. It's all God's creation. But we sort of we attached a wrong belief system to it. It's a story that the ego created around why we are feeling like this. If you had only accepted fear as fear but not giving a belief system to fear, and trying to get out of fear. See, what all we do to avoid that? No, it is based on the belief system only. To avoid many things that we don't like, what all we do, that is due to a belief system, because it keeps us in a state of discomfort. So ego doesn't want to keep us in an uncomfortable state, so it tries to avoid it. And which is why, let's say, oh, I will never eat potatoes because last time I ate potatoes, I had stomach pain. It is a belief system. We don't know why last time stomach pain came. It had to come. It was an experience. It came. But ego wanted a concrete reason why that stomach pain came. It cannot just come like that, unattended like this. It has to inform and come. It had to be planned. But now it is unplanned. It came just like that without telling. So why did it come? Maybe for this reason. And then it will find all its ways to actually make that story real. And the more you keep making that belief system real is by constantly talking about it, saying it, which is why we are all walking a certain path or anything in our life, a certain thing. It is not wrong to say that we are all bad. It is teaching us something or the other on our journey. Nothing is bad. It is just a flavor of life. But I'm just saying that over time, all of this will have to be let go. You may not be able to let go until you hold on to something else. That also will come because of God and because of awareness only. Okay? Yeah. Durga, what was your question?
Hi, Akka. So,
You want to come on video? You have a video?
Yeah, I have a video, but then maybe next time I can come.
Yeah.
Give me a minute. No, I need to shift the place to the video.
Yeah. What was your question? Okay. Meanwhile, there's a question. Does prayers for others' wellness also is interference in others' life? So when you, why are you thinking that they have to be well? That is also one question. What is your intention behind others' wellness? Why should somebody get better? Why do you think that they are suffering? That is also a question. So depends on what is your intention. Is it for selfish reasons? Is it for ego? If they get better, then I'll be happy. If they are sick, then I am in fear. But sometimes there is a genuine reason. Let's say some stranger is sick. Somebody says, please pray for my mother. She's in the hospital in coma or something. In Luke Coutinho, he has a satsang, a sangha, where people actually keep messaging and saying, please pray for my mother, please pray for this. It is more like you don't have any attachment to them. You're sending some genuine love and prayers to those people. But then when it comes to our own inner circle, there is a lot of hidden attachments, hidden egos, and all of those things. So you have to be watchful of why you are praying for them. Are you sending some unattached love and blessings, like genuine stuff, or you have some hidden agenda behind it? You can do anything. It's okay. Nothing is wrong. Because instead of not doing at all, it's better to do something. Whether if it was a right reason, wrong reason, any reason, prayers will somewhere, it will go and touch something. Because they are all good stuff. So I would say that watch these intentions, but do it anyway.
So we can do meditation, but that is okay. What we're doing.
Meditation, prayers, gratitude, ho'oponopono, anything you can do. But just watch whether are you doing it so that they get better because you have fear. Then you have to watch your fear. Because of fear, that experience is coming. So for all you know, maybe when you get to fearlessness or when you accept your fear and then you raise your vibrations, you will just shift to another reality where they'll actually better. It is because of you. You are in a scene because of your frequency. Always remember that. And prayer will only take you to a higher state of vibration. It's not changing them. Nobody is changing here. You are shifting from one place to another place. And very, 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 very fast we are shifting. So hence, you have to shift all the time. And prayers will obviously shift you. Yeah, Sangeeta, who was the one who was asking questions? Durga, you didn't
Yeah,
ask.
I have a question. So, first of all, I would like to thank you for, explaining in deep about the surrendering process, Akash. So, like you said, ego needs an answer for everything. So, for example, if we have a desire and we want to get it done, we can go and surrender to see if we really want that, the desire to get initiated, or we can just initiate it and then surrender.
What is
So,
initiate?
for example, I want to get a new job. Uh, Being in the in the current job, I can just go and surrender it after deciding, or for the decision itself, I need to surrender. For
It,
example, to just know
desire.
if I really need a new job. And
First
this,
of all,
yeah,
there are many sides to this. First of all, they say that most desires have to actually align with your own, you reaching your own self or your own self-realization. Desires are not bad, but having attachment to those desires are sort of going to get you locked up. So, which is like an investment that I was talking about. So, desiring for a new job may not be bad at all, but are you actually in appreciation for the current job?
yeah, I used to, give gratitude. I just said this for example. This applies even, if in case I want a partner. I'm in need of a partner. Sometimes there are questions within me that if I really need someone to just fill the void, because filling the void will always lead to you to a wrong decision or something, I don't know. So I just completely uh, went into this self love. I'm not, completely done with it, but then I'm in the process of loving yourself. So sometimes there will be questions within me. Do I really need someone, or being with myself is enough? So that's what I
So
asked. Like,
you can't actually reach yourself unless you see yourself and accept yourself in others.
yeah.
You have to go through all of the steps to reach the first floor. So there is no way you can just reach yourself by isolation. Everybody has to keep telling you, rather, all the poses have to come and show you yourself. And in all of them, you should be able to see yourself first. So that's about self part. And then when it comes to your desires, the way I think about it is, it's not wrong to have desires, but have the desire, surrender the desire to God, and then you be in the highest state of vibration all the time. You don't harbor negativity and those kinds of things. Like practice acceptance, practice gratitude. In general, also, I'm saying, like, what is your vibration? When we desire something, we are actually in a positive state. But then, do we continue to stay in that positive state? We may not. So don't hold on to that desire. Don't keep thinking about that desire. Have a desire, let it go. It's like, think about it, put a thought and let it go. Let the flow take you there. And then you just be in a state of vibration where the flow can actually carry you there. Whether it will carry you there, when will it carry you there, you really don't know. But you work on your contribution, which is your own state of mind, your own vibrations.
So how
It comes to the flow
to
of
love
God.
God? So how we can cope up with the emotions at that time? 'Cause sometimes we just surrendered. I've seen this surrendering process for little things, and it has worked too. There were miracles too when I surrendered. And when I surrender something, like when there is a range of emotions going inside you and you surrender it, the emotions will shoot up. The emotions level will be high, and the surrendering, it will be very low. So at that time, the surrendering process will not happen completely, but then partially it will happen. So knowing that your emotions level are high, like how to,
See, when you are having any amount of emotional ups and downs, right? You are actually not in surrender. Surrender is either God or ego. It's either this or that. It cannot be both. So if you are actually even in little bit of emotional disturbance, it means that ego only is playing a role there. And whatever has to come as per that vibrations, that will come. There is nothing like partial.
So how that can be
Surrendering,
sorted?
hence, when you're even when there are lots of ups and downs, there are lots of connected emotions attached, attachments are there, lots of many things very something that are sensitive to us. All that, if we are we have to get to that state of surrender, sit and then work on it. Sit and think, do some journaling, go through each of those outcomes, and then teach yourself why it is okay to be with that outcome. Like, be able to see yourself, okay, in this outcome, this is a possible outcome. And in this, I'm probably going to lose out on this job, or I'm going to lose my face here, or I'm going to get insulted here, or my boss is going to scold me here. So what emotions you are going to go through if you go to that outcome? Let's say you have some possible idea. You just say, okay, fine. If that happened, I'm okay with that. I'm going to face it. I'm going to be okay with that. That preparation of mind is essential. If you reach an outcome and you are actually sad when you get that, or when you're upset, you're sort of not very happy with that outcome, it means that you are not mentally prepared. Anything for that matter. See, there could be many possible outcomes where we cannot be mentally prepared because we cannot even think of that outcome. There could be n possible outcomes. Let's say I know only 4. My mind can only think about 4. When the 5th one shows up, you should prepare. You should say, okay, if there are other n minus 4 also, whatever they may be, because I am surrendering, I'll be okay with that when it comes. And when it actually happens, you should tell yourself, yeah, I surrendered and I'm okay with this. Most of the time, if you keep practicing surrender, it will you'll get into a habit, and it's like you just get better and better. And that period of, what can I say, the attracting the right outcome will actually improve. It'll just get better and better. I don't know how this equation works, but you'll just get better. The sort of your affinity towards whatever is favorable to you sort of improves as you keep practicing.
Okay.
The energy plays.
Sure.
Did I answer
will.
all the questions?
Yeah, thank you very much. I will definitely do it. And I keep practicing surrender even more better. And then there will be a point where, it will be either me or God. That's it.
Yeah. See, there is on that path, there is no place for 2. There is only place for 1. It's either ego or God, which is why we are practicing surrender, so that it can only be God, and we can slowly teach the ego to surrender to that same God. We can't see ego as an enemy. Ego is like a child which has just got confused, and then which has tried to protect itself. So we are teaching the ego why it is okay to feel safe in all of these situations.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, Sangeeta?
Sometimes I'm a bit confused. What's the difference between acceptance and surrender? Sometimes it feels like we are using it interchangeably. But in my mind, the difference might be that acceptance is I accept what has already happened or what is happening, and I surrender to the results of what is going to happen, something for the future.
See,
That is the
acceptance sort of is an English word, no? So that's that. For lack of better words, we are using the word called acceptance. But what we are trying to say is, we are that soul, and that soul is there is no flaws in the soul at all.
Mm.
So we are actually saying, see, your ego might have thought that this is bad, this is good, and something is wrong, that limitation, all of that you may be experiencing, but it is sort of a reminder to say, hey, you are actually that whole being. There is nothing wrong in you. Whatever you are experiencing is meant to be experienced, but that is not going to change you in any way. So accept that it is meant to be that, like this. So which means if you're going through anger, let's say anger is coming out, then accept that also as a part of you. But the belief system that was attached that I should not be angry, or they made me angry, or something around that, some scenario based thing, that is what has to be let go. And when we accept that it's only me, I always had it within me, and they only brought it out, is more like that acceptance. It's the accepting that it's me.
Mm.
I already had it. Who am I blaming? It is more about that. So that is what we are accepting. Technically, if you accept that part that is you are going through, it is also about accepting the POSC. But since we may not have a broad-minded nature to accept maybe a person in front of us, the way he is doing or whatever they are doing, because sort of we may not be as forgiving in nature or something. So it is more to say, you look at yourself first, from that point of view, accept it. It becomes sort of easier, but technically the same thing is happening. You're accepting things the way they are. And because it's meant to be the way they are. For
because it's God's plan. So we have surrendered to His plan. So
see, God, yeah, when you say God here, it's that says the soul wanted this experience, so it is coming. It is here.
So in these sessions, are we talking about you do acceptance and you reach this point, and then you do surrender, you reach another point, or this is a combined?
It's actually, it's not about you doing or you saying something and then it is working. It is not about that. Once you are actually in that state of acceptance, that genuine feeling of, oh, there is nothing else to do here, it automatically, the surrender automatically works, which means the melting and everything automatically works because you're already in that state of neutral. But what we are actually trying to avoid is, once you go into acceptance, don't try to control, not getting angry, not getting this. So we try to go and then try to, I will, from now on, I will try to do only this. I'm accepting myself now, and next time I will definitely not go into that. So we sort of plan, and ego does its all pre-planning and all. So we are saying, hey, you are not that. So hence you are surrendering that sense of control to, again, God only. So don't do any controlling acts after that is also what we are saying. Hence the surrender is what I spoke about.
Okay.
Otherwise, in the interim, we will also try to fast forward this, because that irritation, frustration will still be happening in the interim process until we get to that 100%. It will still be disturbing. We may not be patient enough to go through that journey till 100%. Hence, we are saying, stay there. Be patient. Allow the flow. Be surrendered. Don't take action into your own hands. You're going to mess up again. So it's more about that.
And for example, if there's anger and we attach some labels to it, like, I don't like this, I shouldn't do this. So this process of acceptance and surrender, we can get rid of this label. The emotion of anger still stays inside us as a neutral emotion, and it continues to stay, or will there be some kind of garbage collection sometime in the future to get rid of this?
No, anger is actually not bad unless we misuse, or it is being misused See, God is like a bucket of every single emotion. He's the one who created it. So there is nothing like you can, if something exists in the cosmos, it is because it is inside God.
Hmm.
So you can't get rid of anything. You just have to get rid of the limited feelings that are attached to that.
Hmm.
The force or anything for that matter in creation is not bad, but the bad label that we have given to that is bad.
Okay. So there can be instances where anger is just telling us that this is an area where you have to focus on now on.
Exactly. It's an obstacle. There is an obstacle in this particular area. So what we are looking at is, what is that limited feeling I have here, which they are showing me. So hence, when I accept it as me, oh, it's a part of me. Why did I give that limited feeling? I'm actually not limited, right? So why did I put limited label on this? Oh, I'm going to remove the limited label. And it's going to become a part of that universal set. Or rather, it's going to have that divine stamp now.
Okay. And another thing you said, watch your investments. So here we are not talking about should I invest my time, energy, money on this action or not? This is not what we are talking about.
we're
We are
not
talking
talking
about should we invest liking this or hating this?
Yeah. Am I neutral towards it? Or am I sort of going into that mode of like, dislike? Ego is sort of getting involved here.
Okay. Yeah, that would be it. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, quickly, I'll just go through one of this which they've asked in the group. Okay. We should not argue with anyone to ascertain the truth in us, but just keep quiet and surrender with wholehearted belief that you will understand it when it needs to be. Sort of, I didn't understand the context behind it. So I think surrender here is more used from a letting go of, rather giving up control to an abuser kind of situation, I think. So I would say that arguing itself with somebody else is more from a point of view of expecting something in return. That is why we argue, because we want something that we prefer from somebody else. Hence, only the argument started. So there is nothing called truth in that. The truth was they showed you what was limited in you, but you were not willing to accept that and you went into that argument. So hence, I think we need to look at it more from acceptance point of view there. Maybe some more classes will help. Some people are very arrogant and rude and they keep doing this and they die one day. What lesson do they take from this birth? They just hurt so many people around them. See, first of all, whatever we are privy to experience in our reality, whatever we are allowed to experience in our reality is ourself and nothing but ourself. So when we tag somebody as very arrogant and rude, and what will happen when they die one day, you will never know. You will never know that. Because all that they showed you was the rudeness and
Ma'am, can I, this is Rubala. I had shared you this questions with you on WhatsApp.
yeah.
Basically, that question is very personal question. Like, it was an uncle of mine who passed away recently, and we had a lot of tough time with him. Like, he hurted a lot of us, me, my mother, and even my father, and many relatives of us. And suddenly he died due to cardiac arrest, and it was a lot of pain to lose him. But then when I reflect on his passing away, I was like, he did all this, but then we are only now sad about losing him. But what did he learn out of this whole thing? That is where I placed that question.
See,
No, it's
go ahead.
yes, ma'am. So these are these are some of the relatives, or even in the workplace, we see some people to be so harsh on others, and they continue to be like that. They're not reflecting on their actions. They're not doing any change or.
See,
So
what I
to
would
personally,
See, what I would say is, as long as it's in your reality, you have to reflect that back on yourself. See, and in my personal experience, if I've called somebody rude or harsh or I've labeled somebody, I am doing that still in my own life. It may not be as obvious as what they are doing.
Okay, okay.
It may not be as obvious as what they are doing, but it is still happening in my own life
Because
in a very
they are not
second.
rude to me
I am
also, ma'am. They
sorry.
may be rude to somebody else. When I'm seeing that itself is paining. Why are they rude to them? It's not about they being rude to me. They're
Which is
being
okay.
rude to others.
Which is okay. Which is okay. What I'm trying to tell is, all of that experience we have already gone through, and you have probably also learned a lesson that it's not okay to be rude on somebody because they get hurt. That lesson is learned. But now, how are you going to accept a part of you that already has some belief systems associated with those from some past lives? How are you going to put a oneness stamp to that? See, unless you accept everything that you have about yourself, you are not going to be that God. Because you are not a saint overnight. You didn't become a saint overnight. You have been a sinner also. That's what I mean, according to that proverb I'm saying. So we have been in all such positions before we came to this point. So it is important for you to be thinking from the process point of view that if something is in my reality, it is actually within me. Now, how did it get within me? How do I have all of this? If I can see somebody, if I can understand, let's say a Malayali talking, it means I know Malayalam, right? How can I even understand them if I don't even know the language? Hence, if I am able to label somebody as rude, it is because I know rudeness. It is still there within me. And how is it there? How am I not able to recognize? You may be also still using it in your life towards yourself or towards whatever. Like I said, it's not as obvious as you scolding somebody or something, or being rude to somebody. It is there. It is there. That rudeness is there inside me only. Once you're accepting it, that it is actually within me, whether I know, whether I'm able to identify it or not, law says that you have. You may not be aware how you have, when you have, what you have, all of that, it's not there. You have. That much you have to accept. Because if you have to discover yourself and go, you have to first believe it, and then only you'll be able to get that experience. Oh, let me believe that I have it, which is why I'm seeing it in my reality. Then the experience will come to show you where you are also rude to yourself, or where you are being rude in reality, where you are giving out that rudeness even now, which is why it's still showing you. If you had stopped it at some point, it wouldn't have shown you. It is still active. It needs to get out, which is why its expiry date is very close, because there are lots of emotions which can't go beyond a certain point in our point of evolution. The frequency matters. Its frequency needs to get let go from our body. Hence, it will keep coming like a cycle. It will keep coming until you let go. You are stuck to that point kind of thing. So it's a process to be able to say, oh yeah, it's there in my reality. It means it's there in me, because the reality is only my reflection. So if I am able to see it in the mirror, it is obviously there within me. We can't deny that. You may not be able to look at yourself yet. The spotlight, you've not learned to take the spotlight to yourself and start introspecting yourself yet. But once that starts, because, oh, it's there, I can see that. So which means it's here. Okay, let me start the process. So once you get better at spotlighting on yourself, you will actually find it. I found so many things in me. It's actually very scary. In fact, these days I'm finding duality. I'm seeing low self-esteem also. I'm seeing high self-esteem also. I'm seeing areas where I feel that I am not good at all. Rather, I'm seeing myself in that situations, and I'm seeing myself in same situations in the past. I recollect those experiences where I have sort of show offed also in some places where I feel I'm great. And these memories, they come like that, like they fire in your head. Why it came? Now only why it came. When you want to think about these low self-esteems, only why it came, when you're actually introspecting on this low self-esteem issue, why did it, the high self-esteem issue, higher self-esteem issue also came to show me that, see, you are only in duality. You are here also, you are here also. You are not in the center. So then it actually makes your experience better and better to be able to say, okay, yeah, okay, it's just an experience. I should be okay to both. It came out. That is why both these things came. So it's all a learning. And once that kind of spotlight work starts, only you will be able to figure out so much within yourself. It is easy to blame somebody. See, it's easy to look at the mirror and say, oh, yeah, they are wearing white dress, black dress, green dress, all of that, it's easy. Okay. But it's very difficult to look at yourself, which you can't see, and be able to look at the mirror and conclude. It's more like doing a robotic surgery, looking at some monitor or something. It's so difficult. I don't know how they do it, but they do it, right? So hence, we cannot ask questions about what will happen to their life. They played a role because you asked. Rather, let's say they're playing such a role. But what are you looking at it and then thinking? Your other people in your life may be thinking something else, but you may be thinking something else. Your set of action, your set of thoughts may be completely different from somebody else's set of thoughts. So hence, we will never know what they are going through, but you will definitely know whether you are getting more stuck in this whole drama of life, or you're sort of using that to get out of this drama of life. So can we connect to God during periods? See, I do my chanting. I do many things during periods. I did have all of that in the past, but over a period of time, as I walked on this path, I don't do. But then there is also a belief system, which also says that you are very high in energy during this period. Feminine energy is very high. So hence, they asked us to not be, it was more of an observation in the past, where in a temple, they said that, okay, the temple is where the deity is consecrated in one place, and they put copper plates and all of that under the deity, and a pyramid and those kinds of pointy things will be done. So cosmic energy is actually drawn to one single point. So whoever comes to the temple, they are actually experiencing the higher vibrations of cosmic energy in the temple area. Now, what they have noticed that, okay, when people with periods go or something like that, they tend to draw a lot more of that cosmic energy. Hence, they thought that it is not enough for other people or something like that. Hence, they say no. But it is, again, something that I have encountered in my reality as a belief system. It is up to you. There is nothing right or wrong, because you are the master of your own life. If you can think and make some right for you and walk that right for yourself until it is strong enough as a foundation, keep walking. There is nothing like something will happen to me, gods are going to punish me. There is nothing like that. I have actually done many things like that, and nothing has happened to me. Life has only been good, because it's a perspective. And I don't really look at all those things. Yes, I come from a Brahmin family. And even now, well, let's say I go to my in-laws' place, we still observe sitting and all of that, meeting those 3 days and all of that. But in my family, I don't do anything. I'm okay with that. God wanted all kinds of experiences and emotions. Then we are all moving towards one kind of lifestyle food. I feel a lot of restrictions imposed these days regarding no grains, more fruit, no milk. This thing is a very costly affair to maintain and manage this lifestyle. Why should we add so many filters to be connected to God? Can it be simple and from our own respective states of living, and not adapt to something very different from our family culture and way of living? See, I don't know why you wanted to go to plant-based living or anything, or because somebody told you it was the great lifestyle and hence everybody should follow that. It is not about that. It is about whether you feel resonated to walk on that lifestyle. See, all these lifestyles are coming from, it's more about what actually pulls you, what actually resonates you to that kind of life. I am a plant-based practitioner, and this question is actually coming to me. So if you ask me, what I would say is, if you look at everybody saying, oh, follow a plant-based lifestyle, don't eat non-veg, and many of these things, you have heard this in many people telling, because it is more coming from an observation standpoint. Means when you when do we go to higher states of energies? When will we actually become light? Where is the higher state of awareness? It is in higher frequencies. So now how can you, the whole point is, how can I vibrate higher? How can I conserve that energy so I can vibrate higher? I can keep going higher and higher in terms of vibration. So my awareness gets better. So that awareness eventually turns to me, to connect to God within me. All of that is having the same goal. You can obviously not change anything in your lifestyle. Just sit in meditation also. And every single, so the higher cosmic energy is going to flow through you. And whatever is low energy or low belief systems or whatever that makes you feel lower will just get out of you. And that getting out of you is called a detox. And that detox will take its own sweet time to go from your body. But if you are not in awareness of why all of these things happen and how to understand your body, all that is not in awareness, then you will just be in that confused loop of why, what, when, how. It's like you're just shooting in the dark. You're just trying something or the other, and then it's like ego in panic mode. Because who likes people who are sick? Who likes yourself sick all the time? Nobody likes. So you are a person who thinks that I want to be comfortable will also want to be comfortable in a non-sickness mode. So you will obviously keep trying to go away from non-sickness mode, sick mode to a non-sick mode. So it is a confused lifestyle. So, but then a person who is in higher state of awareness, even if he's sick, he'll be in acceptance mode of his own, whatever sickness that he is. So whatever path you take, as long as you understand how energies work and you're willing to walk that path to release your lower energies or lower belief systems, and then accept when the higher energy comes to you, if you're letting go of how, rather the letting go process is all understood, then you can follow any path that is resonating with you. But I also come from a path where I had a, what do you say, life-threatening issue. And I eventually came to a point where I started following plant-based lifestyle. Not because plant-based lifestyle is good or something, just because they told I will live. Yeah, it was only based on that. So I started following. But then as I went deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper into that lifestyle, yes, I found it restrictive. But it has also helped me become more aware of many things. And the way I have understood life in general is, it's like you're walking on the path of evolution. Now, there is some learning to do. Okay, you will actually go into the depth of some, let's say, subject. As you keep going to the depth of that subject, imagine there's a valley. So you're going to go into the depth of that subject. As you keep going deeper and deeper, you will find a lot of goodness in that lifestyle. Then as you keep going deeper, the connection to this surface is sort of going very far. So it will start becoming uncomfortable here. The energies are less kind of thing. So you'll become uncomfortable here. Now you can't stay there for a very long time. In that depth, you can't stay there for a very long time. You'll start to climb up, which means you'll start to let go of anything that is not working for you. You'll start to let go even in that depth. And then you'll start climbing. What you did in this descending, right? You'll actually start doing an ascending, which means you'll do opposite in the ascending. And then you'll keep climbing up. And then suddenly you'll come to a state where you have all the wisdom of this subject, but everything is now neutral. You sort of, in the journey of this up and down, you took every aspect of that subject, churned it, and then you took the butter out to the surface. That was in non-duality mode. Hence, I personally felt that in this journey, it was very easy for me to walk on the path of spirituality. And because my major detox was already done on a plant-based lifestyle. And when I did, life brought me to, let's say, meditation or any of those kinds of paths, exposure to knowledge kind of path. The understanding of that was actually easy, and the progress was also fast, in my opinion. And I have seen people progressing very, very fast on this journey. If you are already going through a physical cleanse in parallel on this path. When the physical body is cleaned through, let's say, other sources, which are more like a help, they are just coming in the form of help. They are not healing you. You are just taking, you are forming a belief system to say that this belief system is in place now, so that, let's say there is a belief system that, let's say fruits are healing me, for example. So you're eating the fruits, and because that belief system is now so strong, it is actually going to raise your vibrations. That process, because there is an assisted belief system, and that belief system, you have surrendered to that belief system. You've surrendered to that. You've believed it. It's like you have put full faith and trust and all in that. There is surrender there. Hence only it's working. If you don't have surrender on anything, then they cannot actually, that belief system will not help you, because you are still in that state of confusion. Ego is there. If you're fully surrendered to that, any belief system, let's say even plant-based lifestyle, it is actually going to help you. Because there are people who have attained samadhi and all of those things, even in non-plant-based lifestyle. Maybe. But predominantly, most of them are vegetarians and all that. But then I'm a vegan. But if you ask me, the more denser you are, the more denser foods you are eating, the more denser will be your nature, your experiences and all of that. And when we are on those kind of experiences, we want those experiences. That is why we have chosen that lifestyle. But when you are done with those experiences, that same lifestyle which you chose in the past will not work for you. You will be exposed. You'll have to look for something that is actually more higher, high vibrating in nature, so that it can suit you at that time. Which is exactly why what we ate in our childhood will not suit us now. Which is why you can't eat what your granny was eating. Because we are constantly moving. We are not on the same point. And whatever works for you is what resonates with you on that point. But let's say if you have to eat the same things that your granny was eating and also stay in that same higher state of vibration, it means that somewhere the deficit is being managed. Which means you should be doing a higher spiritual sadhana to be able to bring that energy from the cosmos to balance that deficit. To balance all of that denseness that you are bringing in from somewhere. And in my opinion, that is also possible. I've experienced it. I've experienced a state where I've also gone in the restrictive diet, and as my spiritual sadhana, which was my major focus, that self-realization focus was very strong. So as I kept walking on that path and sort of did this acceptance, surrender, and still it's going on, it's a huge work. So keep doing. The more you become lighter and lighter and lighter, you can eat the foods that are more restrictive in nature. But I'm not eating, let's say, animal-based foods, because I don't even think that is food for me. As of now, I have a belief system where I don't think animals are food. So I'm still eating plants. Maybe in some point in the future, I'll think plants are also not food. Maybe I'll only think air is food, or maybe water is food. As of now, I'm not there. But I know someday that is also a belief system I need to drop. But today that belief system is strong. So I'm still eating plants. I could not eat rice in the past, but now I'm able to eat rice. How? It was not rice which was a problem. It was my system which was, I had a belief system which this will work. There's lots of conflicting belief systems were there. But then as I sort of really worked on myself and put the energy also, rather brought in that energy through, let's say, sadhana, chanting, meditations, or whatever it is, gratitude practice, it is somehow it all balanced out. I'm actually able to eat everything under the plant-based path without it being without me detoxing at all. On a daily basis, I'm pretty energetic. And I have done majorly juicing in my life. But today, even if I don't juice so much, I'm okay. There's a lot of shift. In my opinion, I think the more you walk this path, spiritual path, and even let go of the belief systems, just come to that center, keep coming to that center. Don't be attached to any belief system. Just keep coming back to the center. Some will be hard. You might take probably some more longer time to come back to center. It's okay. But whatever is easy, whatever works for you, keep coming back to the center. Don't have any hate. Don't have any bad feelings towards anything. Over time, it will all sort of align. And the more you keep coming back to the center, that energies will be very good and it will not keep giving you these sicknesses. So to answer your question, because we are not in a state where we are in control of our mind and ego to be able to do all of these things that we plan in the class or teach in the class, you can't apply all of these things just like that. It needs a lot of like awareness to be able to do that. And that awareness will come from that chanting and this and those kinds of things. So as you keep doing that, only you can do this. And when will all of this awareness comes? When your body becomes light. When will your body become light? When you let go of all of those limitedness, the clogging that we have in the body. The emotions that were not released are all clogged up inside the physical also. So physical has to first get cleaned. You can't even go think and observe yourself if you are so focused on the physical yet. The body consciousness, the body consciousness is very huge. Then only you can come to the mind. What am I thinking? What am I observing? All of that will eventually become stronger and stronger. So which means you are thinking at a mind level, mind-based thinking, mind-based healing, all of that will actually start. But that cannot happen unless the physical is handled. Every day, if you're thinking only about sickness and cold and cough and fevers and BP and sugar and those kinds of things, then it will actually keep you very, very dense. In that denseness, you can't think all of these things that we are teaching. So hence, it's important to clean up the body, to eat clean, to more than clean, I would say eat light. Eat something that is very close to Mother Nature, whose energy levels are very high. Plants are very high in energy. So we are just taking the help of them and conserving our energy. So the more conservation of energy we bring in ourselves, it will be used for our own upliftment, which is starting with detox. Hence, people go through all of these plant-based lifestyle and quit animal-based lifestyle. It is a choice. How you do that is a choice. There are so many people who actually just sit in meditation for 6 hours and do it. It is their choice. People just maybe they practice Reiki, or they may practice pranic healing. They may practice some other process where cosmic energy is coming into the body. But here we chose physically coming from sources which are high in energy, which is, let's say, juices or raw foods and all of those things. So it's a choice of observation, or it's what you resonate with. If you actually don't have a resonance to that kind of lifestyle, just because somebody tells you, you cannot do it, because there is no surrender. And where there is no surrender, there is no alignment for that giving benefit into your life. Only surrender in any life area. If something is working for you, it is because you surrendered, you trusted it, you believed it, you put your 100% faith into it, and you just followed it like no question kind of thing. You knew that will work for me, so you did it. Only that kind of mindset only is actually going to bring benefit. So if you don't have that kind of lifestyle and you think plant-based lifestyle is expensive and all of those things, you are not ready for it. So don't do it. Someday when you are ready, it might come or something else might come. It's not like everybody is walking on this path. People have different plans. We can't say. So which is why I have not brought plant-based lifestyle at all in our talks. I'm only giving the root cause. Where should the root be fixed? There are so many people who are on plant-based lifestyle on this journey, because most of the people who have joined are coming from sources maybe who are teaching them plant-based lifestyle and all of those things. So walk whatever lifestyle you are doing, but no lifestyle is going to help you unless you bring in surrender and acceptance into your lifestyle. You need to go clean at a deeper level, because none of those things will actually take you to there is a threshold limit for where they can all, because the same lifestyle is going to come to a point where it will not help you, because you're still not in that state where you are willing to let go. So you need to let go. You need to come to that acceptance. You need to come to that surrender. How, where, when, what you do, in whatever situation you do, that is your choice. But if you want me to talk about plant-based lifestyle, my experience and all of this, we've already done something called holistic Buddha, where purely plant-based lifestyle only we've spoken about. So you can always watch that. I can share the link. But either way, I can also just talk about, in Divine Design, we definitely spoke a lot about juices. We spoke a lot about the importance of plant-based lifestyle, because it was their energy level, at an energy level, they spoke about all of those things. The book spoke about all of this. It was definitely, it did not really say plant-based lifestyle is good. It did not at all tell like that. It was not at all biased. It was a very energy level talk. And it was talking about liquids. It was talking at those levels. And then we brought in many of these things that were more familiar to us as an example. So you can also watch the Divine Design. Very detailedly, I've spoken about all of these things. Yeah, Ranjita, let me just finish off these things. Okay, a close relative of mine is very stubborn in values and beliefs, but I just yield to everything for the peace in the family. See, this whole thing, you should start looking at it from from your point of view. If you start looking at it, then and then you don't even blame the POSC for anything. And then you start introspecting on, what am I seeing? What is my observation? Oh, I have strong preferences here. I don't have preferences here. So that kind of observation, when you start bringing in, then you will never be able to see, if I'm able to see that stubborn nature in them and it bothers me, that discomfort is there inside me, which is why they enacted that they enacted that thing, the scene in front of me, so that I can understand this nature of mine, which is actually an obstacle and making me feel limited. So then you are actually learning to accept. So there is nothing, instead of pointing fingers like this, you are pointing 3 fingers back at yourself. So all of these situations, whether it is other people, anybody, so here we are just learning to apply one concept. Look at yourself, keep raising your vibrations, because the more you keep raising your vibrations, that awareness will improve, because whatever knowledge is there ever in the cosmos is already inside you. But why can't you actually access it and think and apply? Because you're not in that level of vibrations. So keep going higher, put investment in going higher, rather invest your energy in going higher. And then the same revelation is going to come from inside only. You will actually feel like, oh my God, yeah, this is the right thing to do. They draw very clear boundaries and want people to stand outside that. See, many of these things, especially when it comes to when I started following a vegan lifestyle, my joint family were all non-vegans, which means they were vegetarians. So they did not like me being vegan or something. But I didn't fight. I just did whatever I had to do, because I felt that was the right thing to do. And at the same time, I didn't fight with them. I didn't fight with my in-laws. They didn't like it though. But I was patient. And they were in non-acceptance. I was seeing the non-acceptance, because I was also going through that sort of a slow acceptance in my own life, that this lifestyle actually works for me. because there were a lot of disturbances, right? Suddenly you change your lifestyle and there is a lot of disturbances. It comes in front of you like a disturbance where people will not accept you. You can't eat anything outside. Suddenly you'll feel that you go to a restaurant and everybody is eating and you are not eating. All of these are experiences that will keep coming. And they'll come and tell you, oh, where is your calcium? Where is your protein? All that they'll come and ask you. So these are experiences that are helping you understand that you are actually not yet in stabilized state. You have not accepted your own lifestyle fully yet. You're still in the process of coming to that stable state. So all that we can do is be grateful to those experiences, and which is only helping us becoming better and better. And unless we come to that state that it is all me who has to change and nobody else will change in this equation, everybody else is a constant and I'm the only variable, we will never be able to come to the state and be in gratitude and all of that. So what I suggest is, many of these questions are coming from a place of still maybe seeing 2-3 classes or something. So go through the entire season. Stay with these questions. Rather, have those questions in mind and just let it marinate. And then as the season ends, see if you still have those questions after applying all of these things. We want to be kind to everyone. All of that. Maybe these last few questions, I'll take it in the next class. Okay, because I think we're also running out of time. Yeah, Ranjita?
I just wanted to understand, like, it's not a question, just confirm whether I'm applying it or not by just listening to this. Like when Drupala ma'am asked, like, some disputes with his uncle or something, then you told, no, I'm not sure to whom you have answered this, but in the name of acceptance and surrender, we should not suppress our emotions, right? For example, I don't know what would be the next moment in my life. I cannot come planned, like I should not get angry and all. We are just flowing. So in that moment, when somebody, the post comes in front of me to trigger something inside me, for example, if it is an anger, so in that moment, I should not suppress my emotion. Rather, I should not respond or even react. Rather, I just observe, saying I because of something that post has said or something they have done, I have anger inside me. Just that observation. That is what you are meaning to, not to suppress, but to experience or observe. Correct? That is what you meant to say. It's suppressing the emotions means, like, I'm a bit confused. Like, I understood, like, I should not suppress because that will eventually, we will let out at some point a higher frequency that would affect people around us and even us first. Rather, we should observe but not react or respond. That is what you're saying, right?
All that is there. But what comes naturally to you at that moment is what you are there yet. Where you are. That might change. See, at some point, that anger may not even come and you are in response state. Did that happen by plan? No, it did not happen by plan. It actually happened naturally because you actually graduated to that state.
Until then, I need to, which means until then, I can also react. You are saying even
whatever is natural, only natural, maybe just shout back because you are not there yet. So that also you have to accept. And, oh yeah, okay, fine. I'm still in this point. So everything is again an observation only. But you know that as you keep doing your sadhana, keep increasing your vibrations and all of that, over time you will reach a state where rather you're shifting from one reality to another reality, where you are actually getting better in progressively. But you are not yet there where that person tells you something, but you are not at all reacting at all. It actually doesn't touch you at all. It doesn't affect your ego at all. It will happen. It takes time. It will happen. You may not even have worked on it consciously, but someday when that experience comes, you'll be like, wow, I did not even realize that today nothing happened to me. I was not at all in reaction mode, but in the past, I have reacted so much. It's not a plan. It is a state that you're observing. And you got to that state progressively. You are just observing that yesterday I was like this, today I'm not like that. It is not a plan at all, like you said. Every state is not planned.
Yes, Smita, got it. Thanks.
Okay. I think Sangeeta, is this a new question?
Yes.
Okay.
So there's an incident, and I want to tell you, and if you can tell me, was it surrender or was it mere laziness? So I was in India. My kid was sick. We took her to the doctor. Things were being taken care of. Everything was fine. But my mother-in-law suggested this might be a case of evil eye. We have to do these steps for nazar utarna. And I don't believe in it. My children don't believe in it. But just for the sake of peace in the house, I went through the steps. So was this surrender or was that laziness? So I don't want to argue or put forward my point.
See, there's at least my way of looking at some of these things is walk the path of least resistance. Okay, now you see that there is resistance on this path. Oh, evil, I don't have belief in all of these things. But then my mother-in-law is asking, and it's not, you have a belief system also that I don't want to argue at this point and then rather bring lack of peace in the family. So why not just get it done? Anyway, it's not so harmful kind of thing. So you just went ahead and get it done. So what I would say is, if you think that you don't have if you feel that there is no choice, and you also feel, okay, I like, if I go through this, nothing will happen kind of thing. You watch your belief systems and just believe that, okay, fine, yeah, this is also okay. This is also an experience. It's not something that I'm going to lose anything. This, maybe there is something for me to gain only in this. Let me just go through it. It is here for the right reasons. So you're just walking there with a positive state of mind rather than, array, I can't get, rather I can't face her. Yeah, she's going to scold me or she's going to create some fuss at home. Picha chuda denge types, let me go. So it's, if you have to anyway do it, bring a positive state of mind, bring some passion towards it, cook up some passion, think something to convince your ego that it is actually very nice to go on this path. I have done it. Rather, I have done what you did. I can understand what you're saying. Like, for example, many rituals and other things we do at home. There, like, you don't believe many things. But there is mostly, let's say, superstitious belief behind it. But it is something that my in-laws believe. So I would say that, okay, no experience is bad. So if no experience is bad, why should I even fight that experience? Let me put some positive spin over that and just walk on it. I just do.
So here in this
I am
case,
making
there
myself
is
least resistant to actually walk that path. I am watching myself and not ensuring that I don't have resistance when I'm walking on that path. Because every path is okay. If that path was not as an option in front of me, I wouldn't have anyway taken that path. But now, if it's something that I have to take because of whatever reasons, I'd rather walk that path, but without putting any resistance and affecting my own energy system. Why not benefit from that path by walking the path of least resistance? So it's just a matter of you talking.
In such cases, we need some pre-calculations. We need to invest our time to do some calculations. Will it bring harm, or is it really a low resistance?
As you keep practicing all of these things, no, that nature will come very strongly. It comes very quickly. That calculative mind, it's not called a calculative mind. It's more of, okay, these are the things, this is how it works. It actually comes off very quickly because we think very fast. Ideas come very fast, thoughts come very fast. Because of awareness, everything all works out. It is not like you have to refer a book and then it is not that slow. In the mind, everything happens very fast. You can, if all of these concepts are very predominant inside you, then it will come to your mind also very fast. Let's say that it will flash because of God. Because I believe that even the thoughts that we get, like to pick like this, and then we think that we have, like immediately whatever is surfaced, that how did that come to the surface? Somebody has actually been sending it to the surface. So whatever comes to the surface is available to you. Whatever has not come to the surface is yet not so predominant for you to be actually available, because you have not practiced it enough to be, maybe you may not be able to practice it yet, but it's just a knowledge. You can ponder over it, you can think a lot about it, but someday you will be ready to actually use it when that thought comes. It'll come easily. You'll feel like doing it.
So the scenario I told you was a low impact scenario. It can be a bigger topic, like parents telling their kids, leave your girlfriend, boyfriend, you have to go through arranged marriage now. And at that time, if that boy or girl takes the easy route of just following the elderly advice and surrendering to it, then it would be
In
good.
one of the cases, the parents have only agreed. The parents have told, okay, fine, you both can whatever stay together as of now. Whenever you think about marriage, you come to us. That also has happened. And then there is one more scenario where, let's say the husband is forcing the wife to eat non-veg. You come with me to a restaurant because I want you to come to a restaurant with me, have fun with me. But then let's say this person has chosen to walk on, let's say, a path where she has quit non-veg. Then, see, these are delicate situations. You'll have to see what is the impact. And there, if the belief system is no, I will never eat non-veg kind of belief system, there you will say, no, I will not eat. I can come and sit with you in the restaurant, but I will not eat non-veg. Because you're willing to go through whatever karma, whatever wrong or right, whatever is the consequence, you are willing to go through that. You're not willing to compromise. Because that is so strong within you. But there could be some people who say, okay, yeah, I need to go with my husband, whatever he says, because we have to live together. They may eat also. That is their journey. I'm not saying here nothing is right or wrong. There is always a learning. There may be some different learning on this path. There may be a different learning on that path. But do what you think is right. And if at all you have to follow a low impact path, then go on the path of least resistance and then walk that path. Tell yourself, for example, if she had to go eat that non-veg, she had to tell herself that, okay, this is nothing but God's energy. But is that her that belief system? Is it an experiential level belief system? No, not yet. She can't just say, oh yeah, there is God in this and then eat it. No, because ego is so strong within that it will not play out so easily. But there are lots of sadhus in the Himalayas where they eat carcasses. And they don't get affected because they are at that level where they see only pure energy in everything. So we may not be at the level where we just apply knowledge and then walk off on that path. We should actually see whether that's our experience. We burn our hands also in that case. In the sense, we say, okay, yeah, there is God in this also, let me eat it. And then they'll eat it. And then let's say the belief system will make them fall sick. And then they'll say, oh shit, I shouldn't have eaten it. Every such ups and downs will keep happening until a stronger reality sort of comes inside you with that awareness and all that. It's all it's a learning.
Yeah. Good. Thank you.
Sure. Okay. Ranchita, you had one more question or you're done?
No, Smita, I'm done.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Rubella, I think last few questions that you had sort of had a long explanation, hence I did not cover, but I will definitely either put it on the WhatsApp group or I will again take it in the next class, because next class onwards, it's majorly question and answers only. So we will be dealing with the next 8 classes, we'll be doing only Q&A and many things that assists this journey. Okay? Shalom. Thank you so much for joining. Take care. Be blessed. To the Supreme God, we thank you for your divine blessings. To my spiritual teacher, to all the spiritual teachers, holy masters, all the saints, holy angels, spiritual helpers, and all the great ones, we thank you all for your great, great blessings. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Bye, bye.